Hey warriors, listen close because this is something most people never figure out. The second they sense fear in you, they act like the battle is already over. It shifts something in their mind. The moment they catch even a flicker of hesitation in your eyes, they move forward. They step closer. Their voice gets louder, sharper, more demanding. Their body language changes. They get bigger. They puff up. They lean into your space. They stare at you longer than normal, pushing past the usual comfort zone, trying to make your mind go blank before you can even form a single word to defend yourself. Here is the truth that changes everything. Intimidation is rarely about truth. It is never really about facts or logic or who is right. It is about pressure. It is theater, a performance, a show they are putting on just for you. It is a calculated act designed to make you react before your brain has time to think clearly. Picture this scene in your mind. Someone is pushing hard. Their tone is sharp like a blade. Their presence feels heavy in the room. Most people in that spot make a critical mistake. They rush to defend. They talk too fast, trying to fill every silence. They explain too much, offering reasons and justifications that were never asked for. They try to prove their worth right there in the heat of the moment, desperate to show they are not weak. And that is exactly where they lose control completely. Because intimidation feeds on reaction. It survives on emotional movement. It needs you to move, to flinch, to react. The more you flinch, the stronger it grows inside the other person. The more you rush, the more power you hand over without even realizing it. But what if you could stand still instead? What if, in the exact moment they expect you to shrink back and crumble, you become steady like a rock? No raised voice, no nervous smile that gives away your fear, no defensive rambling that spills out uncontrollably. Just calm eyes and grounded silence that changes everything. Suddenly the script breaks in their head. Their rhythm collapses. Their pressure has nowhere to land. And the balance of power quietly flips without you ever throwing a punch or raising your volume. Intimidation is not strength. Real strength does not need to crowd your space or crush your voice to be felt. Intimidation is usually a strategy used when someone wants control fast. It is a shortcut move, a psychological shove meant to rush your decision-making and weaken your posture so they can take what they want. Most people fall into this trap without even realizing they are inside it. They think they are defending themselves, standing their ground, but they are actually stepping into the other person's frame, playing by their rules, reacting to their moves. Today, you are going to learn how to step out of that frame completely. I am going to walk you through 7 powerful psychological tactics that shift the ground under anyone who tries to overpower you. These are not about yelling louder or acting tougher. They are about control, timing and mental positioning, silent dominance, composed pressure, strategic calm. When you use these correctly, the person trying to intimidate you starts to feel uncertain, off balance, confused. This is not about becoming cold or cruel inside. It is about becoming unshakable. There is a big difference between the two. You do not need to attack. You do not need to threaten. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. You just need to stop playing their game and make them stand in yours. By the end of this, anyone who tries to push you around will feel like they have run into a wall they cannot move. Before we go further, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments right now. Calm beats pressure. Write it down, type it out, put it there. Let it sink into your mind, because this is the foundation of everything we are going to cover. First, you have to understand how to freeze the stage. Every intimidation attempt is a performance. There is always a hidden stage, an invisible spotlight pointed at you, and an expected reaction that they are waiting for. The aggressor is not just speaking to communicate information. They are acting to provoke movement from you. They want a visible shift, a defensive reply that shows they got to you, a nervous laugh that reveals your discomfort, a quick denial that proves you care about their opinion, a rushed counterattack that shows you are emotional. That response is their reward. It tells them the pressure is working exactly as planned. The moment you understand that intimidation is theater, you stop being the audience and start becoming the empty room. When pressure comes at you, your first instinct is usually speed. Faster speech, faster thinking, faster emotion. Your body wants to close the tension gap as quickly as possible to make the discomfort stop. That instinct is natural, and it is exactly what gives the other side leverage over you. Freezing the stage means you deliberately break that tempo. You do not rush to answer. You do not hurry to defend your position. You let the moment hang in the air longer than feels comfortable. Silence becomes your first move, not your last. Hold your posture steady. Keep your shoulders level. Let your breathing slow down instead of speed up. Keep your eyes focused, but not hostile. You are not challenging them. You are simply unmoved by their performance. This stillness sends a signal that is stronger than any clever sentence you could come up with. It says, "Your pressure did not land on me." Most people have never been trained to handle calm resistance. They are prepared for an argument, not for composure. When their emotional push meets a motionless wall, their certainty starts to wobble deep inside. There is a powerful psychological effect that happens here. When someone tries to dominate through forceful presence and receives no immediate feedback, self-awareness turns inward on them. They begin monitoring themselves instead of monitoring you. Their mind shifts from attacking to checking. Am I going too far here? Do I look foolish right now? Why aren't they reacting the way they should? That internal questioning drains their momentum fast. Energy that was aimed at you now loops back into them. Your face matters here more than your words. Avoid dramatic expressions. No smirking, like you know something. No eye-rolling that shows contempt. No exaggerated seriousness that looks like a mask. Neutral is stronger than theatrical confidence every single time. Think of a judge listening in a courtroom. Attentive, unreadable, grounded in their chair. Let them speak into that neutrality. The longer they continue without emotional payoff, the more exposed they feel. Performers without applause become uncomfortable very quickly. Another key element is micro-movement control. Do not fidget with your hands. Do not adjust your clothes repeatedly like you are nervous. Do not shift your feet back and forth. Small restless gestures signal internal disturbance to everyone watching. Stillness communicates inner authority without a word. Even if you feel tension inside, reduce visible motion outside. Power is often judged by surface control, not inner sensation. Many people worry that pausing will make them look weak or unprepared. The opposite is true. Leaders pause, negotiators pause, high-status communicators pause. Quick replies are common, measured responses are rare, and rarity creates perceived strength. When you finally speak after a deliberate gap, your words land heavier because the space before them built weight and anticipation. Remember this line and make it part of your mental reflex. If you do not react, their performance dies. You are not ignoring reality. You are removing their stage lighting. Without reaction, intimidation has nothing to feed on. The encounter shifts from emotional combat to psychological imbalance. In your favor completely. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Stillness is power. Put it there and let it anchor in your mind. Second, you must learn to make them reveal what is really going on. Pressure works best when it stays vague, forceful, and one-directional. The intimidator throws statements like punches, sharp, loud, and moving forward, hoping you stay busy blocking instead of examining what is actually being said. Your counter is not louder resistance. Your counter is precision inquiry. You turn the spotlight around and make them unpack their own words. When someone is forced to clarify, justify, and specify, their emotional advantage begins to leak away like air from a tire. Most dominance attempts rely on broad claims and loaded phrases that sound heavy but mean nothing. You always mess this up. Everyone knows you cannot handle this. This is a terrible decision. These lines feel heavy because they sound final and absolute, but they are often built on air and assumption. The moment you calmly ask for definition, the weight drops away. Ask in a steady voice. What exactly do you mean by that? Which part specifically are you referring to? Based on what evidence are you saying that? Walk me through your reasoning step by step. Each question is like turning on another light in a dark room. Shadows stop looking frightening when fully lit by investigation. The key is tone. Your delivery must be even, grounded, almost curious, like you genuinely want to understand. Not sarcastic, not challenging. Clean curiosity disarms faster than confrontation every time. When your question sounds genuinely investigative rather than defensive, the other person cannot easily accuse you of being combative or difficult. You are not fighting, you are examining. That shift forces them out of attack mode and into explanation mode. Explanation is slower, cognitively heavier, and emotionally weaker than accusation. There is a psychological law at work here. The person doing the explaining is spending status energy when they must keep supplying reasons, details, and logic to back up their forceful claims. They are working harder than you. Cognitive load rises. Verbal stumbles increase. Emotional momentum fades away. Meanwhile, you remain composed, asking short surgical questions that cut to the core. You are steering without pushing. Use narrowing questions rather than open wandering ones. Start broad, then tighten down. What exactly is the problem you see here? Which outcome concerns you most in this situation? Where did you get that information from? What would you prefer instead of what is happening? Each layer reduces exaggeration and exposes hidden assumptions. Many intimidation tactics depend on emotional exaggeration. Specificity dissolves exaggeration completely. Another advantage appears as you do this. Contradictions surface. When someone speaks aggressively, they rarely maintain internal consistency in their story. As they elaborate under your questions, gaps appear between their earlier claim and their later reasoning. Do not jump on those gaps immediately. Let them keep talking. Silence after their answer often pulls out even more detail. People rush to fill quiet space and often reveal more than they intended to share. Your body language should remain receptive, but firm. Slight head tilt, steady eye contact, minimal nodding. Avoid rapid agreement signals. You are listening, not surrendering. Keep your breathing slow enough that your voice never climbs in pitch when you speak. Vocal steadiness communicates that you are not under threat internally. This approach also protects you from emotional hijacking. Questions anchor your mind in analysis rather than reaction. Instead of thinking, "How do I defend myself?" you think, "What is actually being claimed here?" That mental pivot alone reduces stress chemistry in your body and improves judgment significantly. Remember the principle deeply. When pressure is forced to explain itself, it shrinks. You are not dodging, you are dissecting, and once intimidation is dissected, it rarely survives intact. Put this in the comments. Questions break pressure. Third, you must master the art of speaking slowly and moving slowly. Urgency is the fuel of intimidation. The person applying pressure wants speed, fast answers, fast concessions, fast emotional reactions they can see. They try to compress the moment so tightly that you do not have room to think clearly. Your countermeasure is deliberate tempo. You stretch the moment instead of letting it be squeezed. You slow your speech pattern, your gestures, even your head turns. Controlled pacing signals internal command in a way volume never can. When human beings feel threatened, their nervous system accelerates naturally. Words come out clipped and short. Sentences stack on top of each other without breathing room. Pitch rises higher. Breathing becomes shallow and quick. All of this broadcasts stress to everyone observing. Even if your arguments are strong, rushed delivery makes them sound fragile and uncertain. A measured cadence, on the other hand, makes simple language sound authoritative and grounded. Pace shapes perception more than vocabulary ever could. Start with your breathing rhythm. Inhale through your nose deeply. Let the air settle low in your belly. Then speak on the exhale slowly. This naturally reduces vocal speed and lowers your tone. Lower tone is associated with steadiness and credibility across all cultures. You are not trying to sound dramatic like a performer. You are aiming for grounded like a tree. Imagine each sentence weighs something solid. You place it down carefully. You do not throw it out recklessly. Insert small pauses between thoughts, not awkward gaps that feel empty. Intentional spacing changes everything. A brief beat before answering a charged remark creates gravity in the room. It shows you are choosing your words rather than being pushed by emotion. Listeners interpret chosen speech as stronger than reactive speech every time. The pause also forces the other person to wait inside their own tension, which weakens their emotional surge naturally. Your physical motion should match your vocal tempo exactly. Quick hand movements, finger pointing, and abrupt shifts in stance suggest agitation and loss of control. Instead, keep gestures economical and few. One hand movement instead of 5 scattered ones. One posture adjustment instead of constant repositioning. Think economy of motion. High-status presence is usually quiet in movement, not busy and frantic. There is also a contrast effect that works in your favor here. Aggressive behavior often looks chaotic and out of control when placed beside calm pacing. When one person is loud and fast while the other is steady and unhurried, observers and even the aggressor's subconscious mind assign stability to the slower presence. Stability reads as strength. Speed reads as strain and weakness. Be careful not to drift into sluggishness, though. The goal is controlled tempo, not lethargy. Your words should remain clear, your articulation sharp and precise. Slow does not mean dull. It means deliberate and intentional. Each phrase should feel placed, not spilled out. If you notice your rate climbing during conversation, consciously shorten your sentences. Shorter lines are easier to deliver with control and power. Another benefit appears internally. When you regulate pace, you regulate emotion naturally. Body tempo and emotional intensity are linked deeply. By slowing outward behavior, you send feedback to your nervous system that the situation is manageable and safe. That feedback loop helps keep your judgment intact under fire. Use this mental cue as a guide. Pressure speeds up. Authority slows down. Let that truth guide your timing always. You are not matching their storm. You are changing the weather around it. When your tempo stays anchored, their attempt to rush you loses its grip completely. Drop this in the comments. My pace wins. Type it out and own it. Fourth, you have to learn how to control the space around you. Human interaction is never only verbal. Territory, distance, and positioning constantly send signals beneath the surface of conversation. An intimidator often tries to win physically before they win verbally. They step too close into your personal zone. They loom over you. They angle their body to crowd your line of sight. They try to make you retreat by inches without you noticing. Those inches matter enormously. Each small backward shift quietly transfers authority from you to them. Your objective is not confrontation or a physical fight. It is spatial ownership and presence. Start by becoming aware of your footprint in the space. Plant your feet at a natural shoulder-width distance. Balanced, not rigid like a statue. Weight evenly distributed on both feet. This stance alone changes how pressure feels in your body. When your base is stable, your voice and eye contact stabilize more easily. Narrow footing leads to sway and micro-retreat. Grounded footing communicates readiness without aggression. If someone advances into your personal zone, resist the reflex to step back instantly. Most people yield space automatically to avoid discomfort. That automatic yield is exactly what a dominance move is trying to trigger. Instead, hold your position for a beat. Let them be the one who feels they crossed a boundary. Often they will self-correct when they realize you are not shrinking away from them. Your torso orientation also matters greatly. Keep your chest open and square rather than turned away. Angling away signals withdrawal and fear. Squared alignment signals presence and readiness. This does not mean staring them down like a challenger in a fight. It means remaining fully there instead of partially exiting with your body. Use micro-adjustments instead of retreats. A slight forward lean from the hips, very small and subtle, can neutralize someone else's forward pressure without looking aggressive. It says you are engaged, not cornered. Engagement reads as confidence. Withdrawal reads as vulnerability. The difference can be only a few centimeters, but it changes everything. Objects in the environment can be used intelligently. A table edge, a chair back, a desk. These create natural boundaries. Positioning yourself with a subtle barrier between you and the other person can reduce their ability to crowd you while keeping the interaction civil and normal. This is not hiding. It is structuring the interaction field to your advantage. Head height is another silent indicator. Keep your chin level with the ground. When people feel pressured, they often tuck their chin down or lift it defensively. Both broadcast tension clearly. Level head position projects neutrality and self-command. Pair this with relaxed shoulders, not raised up near your ears, not slumped forward, and you project grounded authority without theatrics. Eye contact should be steady, but not locked in a hostile stare. Think anchor, not laser. You are present and attentive, not predatory. Short natural breaks in eye contact are fine, but avoid darting glances. Rapid eye movement suggests search for escape. Smooth eye behavior suggests internal certainty. There is a psychological boundary effect at play here. When you maintain your spatial ground, the other person subconsciously registers that escalation will require effort from them. Effort reduces impulsive dominance behavior. You are increasing the cost of intimidation without saying a single word. Those who hold their ground hold the frame. Space is not just physical. It is psychological territory expressed through posture and placement. When you keep your ground calmly, tension reorganizes around you instead of over you. Drop this in the comments. I hold my ground. Fifth, you need to develop strategic indifference as a shield. Many pressure tactics depend on emotional hooks. The intimidator throws out remarks designed to trigger pride, anger, embarrassment, or the desperate need to prove yourself. They are fishing for a reaction that gives them leverage over you. Strategic indifference cuts the line completely. You do not bite, not because you are numb or disconnected, but because you are selective about what earns your emotional energy. This is not passive behavior like a doormat. It is controlled non-investment in their game. You are fully aware of what is being said, yet you choose not to grant it emotional weight in your mind. Most people confuse strength with visible pushback. True psychological strength is often quiet, non-attachment to provocations. When a provoking comment lands and finds no emotional handle to grab onto, it drops to the floor and dies. The first step is internal labeling. Instead of absorbing the remark personally and taking it to heart, categorize it mentally. That is a pressure move right there. That is bait they are throwing. That is posturing to look big. Labeling creates distance between stimulus and feeling. Distance gives you choice. Choice gives you control. Without that gap, emotion drives behavior automatically, and you lose. Your facial response should remain lightly neutral, not frozen stiff, not overly expressive. A relaxed mouth, steady gaze, and composed brow communicate that nothing destabilizing just occurred. Avoid forced smiles that look fake or exaggerated seriousness that looks like a mask. Overmanagement looks artificial to people. Think natural calm, not performance calm. Verbal replies, if needed at all, should be minimal and low temperature. Short acknowledgements work well here. I hear you. Noted. That is your view. These phrases neither agree nor fight. They absorb without amplifying the tension. The goal is to keep the interaction from gaining emotional heat. Heat is the resource intimidation needs to survive. One powerful element of this tactic is expectation violation. The aggressor expects resistance, apology, or visible discomfort from you. When none appears, their prediction model breaks down. Humans rely heavily on predicted reactions during social dominance attempts. When prediction fails, confidence drops inside them. They may push harder briefly, but without emotional payoff, escalation becomes tiring for them. Watch your micro-signals closely. quick defensive laughter, sarcastic tone, sharp sighs. These leak emotional engagement, even when your words are neutral. Smooth delivery matters enormously. Think of your voice as level water, not choppy waves. Even your blinking rate can communicate tension to observers. Slower blinking often reads as calm presence. Strategic indifference also protects your decision quality under pressure. Emotional hooks narrow thinking down to survival mode. Non-attachment keeps your cognitive field wide open. You can evaluate the situation instead of being pulled inside it. That wider mental frame allows smarter next moves. Whether that is boundary setting, redirection, or exit from the situation, there is an important boundary here though. Indifference to provocation does not mean tolerance of abuse. You are disengaging from emotional manipulation, not accepting mistreatment silently. If a clear line is crossed that should not be crossed, you can state a boundary plainly and briefly without emotional charge. Calm boundary statements are far more effective than heated rebuttals. Think of attention as currency in these moments. Every visible emotional reaction is a payment you make. Spend only where return is worthy. When you stop paying, manipulators lose funding for their tactics. Their pressure runs out of fuel. What you refuse to emotionally sponsor cannot psychologically control you. Detachment, when chosen consciously, is not weakness. It is leverage and power. Drop this in the comments. I do not bite. Sixth, you must learn to agree without losing anything in the process. Most intimidation scenarios are built on a forced choice illusion. Fight back or fold completely. Argue or submit. Push or be pushed. That binary is a trap designed to limit your options. There is a third path that most people miss. Calibrated agreement. You acknowledge a fragment of what was said without surrendering your position, your boundary, or your authority. This move dissolves friction while preserving your footing completely. When someone expects resistance from you, even a small nod of acknowledgement disrupts their attack pattern deeply. Their emotional engine is tuned for collision and friction. Remove the collision and their momentum misfires into empty space. But the agreement must be crafted carefully, with precision. You are not conceding the conclusion or giving up. You are recognizing a slice of perspective, a data point, or a feeling they have. Precision matters in the wording. Use partial validity language. That is one way to look at it. I can see why you would think that. There is a point there worth considering. That sounds important to you. These phrases validate perception, not dominance. You are recognizing their viewpoint exists, not that it rules over yours. This distinction keeps your autonomy intact completely. Delivery again is crucial. Your tone should be even, grounded and unhurried. No defensive edge in your voice. No submissive softness that gives away weakness. Think steady acknowledgement, like a judge. When someone tries to overpower you next time, remember this truth. You are not there to win a shouting match with them. You are there to hold your frame steady. Let them burn their own energy out. Let them perform for an audience that is not reacting. Let them reach for reactions that never arrive, no matter how hard they push. The louder they push, the clearer their desperation becomes to everyone watching. Calm turns pressure inside out completely. Power is not force exerted on others. Power is emotional self-command under stress. It is the steady gaze that does not flinch away. It is the measured reply that does not chase approval from anyone. It is the boundary that does not need decoration to be felt. When you master that within yourself, intimidation has nowhere to land on you. If this video sharpened your awareness and gave you practical control tools to use, take a second right now to support the channel. Like the video, so more people learn how to stand unshaken under pressure. Share it with someone who needs stronger psychological footing in their life. And subscribe for more deep tactical breakdowns on influence, strategy, and mental dominance. Quiet strength is a skill, and we build it here together every time. Reminder for you to hold on to. You do not defeat intimidation by overpowering it directly. You defeat it by becoming untouchable inside. Drop one last affirmation in the comments if this hit home. I am untouchable. let it be known.